So here we go, Chapter 3, Section 3.1, Factors and Multiples of Whole Numbers. What is a prime number? Can you remember back to when you first were introduced to prime numbers? A prime number is any number divisible by only 1 and itself. Some examples would be 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and so on and so on and so on. But the number 12, for example, is not prime because it is divisible by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So it's not prime because it's divisible by more than 1 and itself. These numbers actually are all the different factors of 12, which we're going to be looking at eventually anyway. But that's just a side note. Prime factorization. What is prime factorization? Prime factorization is the process of writing a number as a product of its prime factors. For example, the prime factorization of 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Note, 2 and 3 are both prime numbers. So prime factorization is breaking a number down into a product of only prime numbers. Okay? So if we look at this example, or actually let's look at the next example. Prime factorization of 324. Now there's a couple of different ways that you could go about finding the prime factorization of a number. But depending on which way, or it doesn't matter which way you use, there are some different rules that you can try and remember that will help you in determining that. Even numbers are going to be divisible by 2. Whoops, spelled that wrong. Divisible. D-I-V-I-S-I-B-L-E. Divisible by 2. Numbers that end in a 5, divisible by 5. Even sometimes numbers ending in a 0 would be divisible by 5. So looking at that then, a prime factorization of 324. Now what I'm going to use here is what's called a factor tree. 324 is going to 324 divides by 2. If I divide 324 by 2, I get 162. Then I look at 162, which is also divisible by 2, to give me 81. Now, notice that each of these numbers that I'm dividing by ends up being a prime number. Now, there are different ways you could go about doing this, but at the bottom line, you need to end up with a list of prime numbers that, when multiplied together, give you whatever number it is that you're trying to find the prime factorization for. Now, 81 we know is, well, you probably know is 9 times 9. But is 9 a prime number? No, it's not. So we have to break 9 down into 3 times 3. And this 9 also into 3 times 3. So now we have a good listing of all the individual prime factors of 324. And we would simply just write that out. 324 would be 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 3 times 3. Some questions will ask you what's the prime factorization for a number, but write your answer using exponents. So in this case I could write, well, 324 would be 2 squared times 3 to the 4th. There are 4 3's, there are 2 2's. Okay. And that's quick intro into prime factorization. You do example number 2 right now. Write the prime factorization of 2,646. I'm going to pause the video for a second. You can pause your video, do the prime factorization, and when we start up again, we'll have the prime factorization listed out.